Hello and welcome to Hacking Pixels. Hacking Pixels covers some of the hottest cybersecurity news from around the internet, along with a twist of retro video game nostalgia. Hacking Pixels is brought to you by Actionable Security, securing small businesses with actionable insights. Actionable Security specializes in cybersecurity services tailored for small businesses such as risk assessments, email hardening, virtual chief information security officer advisory, and a lot more. Go to actionablesec.com for more information. Welcome to episode 4, our best episode so far. As always, I'm your host, Frank Moreno, founder of Actionable Security and retro gaming enthusiast. Today, we're going to talk about AI, firewall vulnerabilities, Microsoft going passwordless, and a pesky Apple Airplay flaw, followed by our retro game of the month. But first, here's a message from Actionable Security on our free attack surface snapshot.
Introducing Attack Surface Snapshot, our free, fun, and fearless way to check if your digital doorstep is leaving any windows open for unwelcome guests. At Actionable Security, we believe robust cybersecurity isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for every business, regardless of size. That's why we are on a mission to help small businesses by scanning your external footprint to identify potential attack vectors. We use the same daring tools as cyber baddies themselves, probing open ports, investigating common vulnerabilities and exposures, and sniffing out vital open source intelligence, so you know exactly what secrets might be floating around. Think of it as a quick digital health check to ensure your company isn't inviting hackers to a party. Best of all, it's completely free as our way of giving back to the community. Contact Actionable Security now to claim your free snapshot and stay one smart step ahead of those relentless cyber party crashers.
I built Actionable Security to help people, and Attack Surface Snapshot does just that. I've seen too many times where small businesses get compromised because they're not patching, they expose something they shouldn't have, or have something misconfigured. With Attack Surface Snapshot, we take a quick look to make sure your digital doors are locked. It's our way of giving back and helping every small business without costing you a dime. Few quick updates. I went to the Small Business Expo in New York earlier in the month, and I was right in the mix with brilliant caffeine-fueled entrepreneurs buzzing with ideas. I was able to soak up some insights, swap some ideas, and meet some incredible entrepreneurs and have some real conversations about how approachable and actionable cybersecurity could support small business success. While it was a bit overcrowded, it was a great event that was completely free. I'll add a link in the show notes if you want to check it out. Our friends at WordPress are in the news again with a new malicious plugin disguised as a security tool, as we spoke about in our last episode. You should use plugins sparingly. 90% of WordPress vulnerabilities could be attributed to plugins, so the less you use, the safer you are. Keep an eye on our Actionable Security social feed as we'll be releasing some quick tips to better secure your WordPress soon. It's also that magical time again. Microsoft just patched 72 vulnerabilities, including 5 that are actively exploited. And Apple has also patched some major security flaws in iOS and macOS. Even Chrome is getting in on the action, patching an active exploit. So this is just your monthly reminder to patch your systems. So we're introducing a new feature to our podcast this episode, AI in the news. Maybe I'll come up with a catchier title later. Anyway, the world of AI is rapidly changing and there's a ton of news every month. I just wanted to be able to capture what's going on with some quick takes, which is why I felt it was important to add this. Let's get started with Lovable, our favorite vibe coding tool. They launched version 2.0 and it's terrible. It's really a hot mess. Definitely a step back from the prior version. It eats credits quickly and basically ignores what you want it to do. The folks at Lovable seem to be working to improve things, and the fixes can't come soon enough. Microsoft has also unveiled some new AI agents that can modify Windows settings. Soon, Copilot Plus PCs will be able to change your settings using natural language, so no more hunting to find that feature you want to turn on. Dark Reading has a good article on the risk of using AI models developed by competing nations. They even quote Spider Man. It's a good read. As we mentioned before, this is just another reminder to know where you are putting your data. The Register brings us an article on everyone deploying AI, but no one is securing it. They highlight how banned AI is being used in the workplace. Things like mobile device management, web filtering, and even something like Threat Locker can help make sure only approved AI apps are being used in your small business. Microsoft is finally rolling out the controversial Windows 11 Recall AI feature. Recall is scary since it essentially records everything you do from banking details to that embarrassing search history. It's all neatly stored and searchable by you, your IT admin, and possibly a few cyber criminals. It's kind of like a keylogger with Microsoft branding. And then lastly, Google just dropped a ton of AI features at I/O. Some highlights are Gemini Live, which allows you to communicate with Gemini in real time and ask questions about what you're seeing. Gemini Agent Mode. Agent Mode in Gemini could do things like find sports game tickets at ideal price. Gemini Personal Context. Gemini will be able to incorporate your search history for personalized results, along with pulling information from other Google's apps such as Gmail. The privacy flags are waving high on that one. AI Ultra was also announced, which costs a whopping $250 per month. It includes expanded access to Google's latest AI tools with high rate limits and all of the newest features. Plus, they throw in YouTube Premium and 30 terabytes of storage for that price. Google is also updating its video generation model with new capabilities. It's now able to create videos that include sound effects, background noise, dialogue. AI movies and TV shows are certainly coming. Google also has a new image generating tool that could create more photorealistic images with improved details like hair, fur, fabric. More importantly, it's better at generating text and spelling things correctly, which has been a challenge for AI. Finally, there's now AI mode in Google search. It's not too impressive right now and feels like just an expansion of the AI suggestions that are already there. Okay, enough about AI. Let's get to our first story. This one is actually two stories in one. CISA warns two Sonic Wall vulnerabilities under active exploitation, and Fortinet fixes critical zero-day exploited in 40 voice attacks. Basically, two older vulnerabilities for Sonic Wall's SMA devices are being actively exploited, and Fortinet released security updates to patch a critical remote code execution vulnerability, both of which have been heavily targeted by threat actors. Both Fortinet and SonicWall are popular targets for threat actors. I see vulnerabilities pop up for both of them all the time, and small businesses impacted by them time and time again. They are relatively inexpensive firewalls that are installed by managed service providers to provide that extra layer of protection. Unfortunately, the service providers take a set it and forget it attitude and perform infrequent updates on these devices or just don't update them at all, which in turn leads to a cybersecurity incident. Keeping these devices on the latest and greatest software with current security patches will reduce your risk of incident. Your firewall is your first line of defense against the bad guys, so you want to make sure that it's always up to date. Many of these firewalls, including SonicWall and Fortinet, have automatic updates that can be enabled. Next story. Microsoft sets Passkeys as the default for new accounts. 15 billion users gain passwordless support. For those that don't know, Passkey is a digital key that replaces your password for signing in, which makes phishing a lot more difficult. Besides Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, and others are already using passkeys. Passkeys are safer, simpler, and phishing resistant alternative to passwords, but do not replace multi factor authentication, which is an additional layer of protection. Since both are usually tied to a phone, if your phone is compromised, there's a risk there since your passkey and your MFA become vulnerable. The other issue is that not all services support passkeys, so you might still need to use a traditional password, or better yet, move to passphrase, which are longer strings of words that are easier to remember but hard to guess. Something like dog took a long walk in the park Tuesday night. Password length is usually the mitigating factor in any type of brute force attack. So the longer your password is, the more difficult it'll be to crack. Passphrases should be at least 4 words long, totaling at least 12 characters or more. You should avoid common phrases, quotes, and song lyrics. You shouldn't reuse your passphrases across accounts, and make sure you use MFA with them. You could also use a password manager to help generate them. Last story. Apple Airborne flaws can lead to zero-click AirPlay RCE attacks. A set of security vulnerabilities in Apple's AirPlay protocol and AirPlay software development kit exposed unpatched third-party and Apple devices to various attacks, including remote code execution. Basically, these vulnerabilities could be leveraged for zero-click and one-click remote execution attacks, man-in-the-middle attacks, denial-of-service attacks. So this is certainly a concern. Apple released an update in March for all of these vulnerabilities, which you should certainly install. In order for attacker to take advantage of these vulnerabilities, the attacker needs to be on the same wireless network as you. If that scenario exists, they'll be able to take over certain AirPlay enabled devices and do things like deploy malware that spreads to other devices. Besides updating all your Apple devices to the latest and greatest version, some additional steps you could take to better protect yourself are disabling AirPlay if it's not used, restricting AirPlay access to trusted devices using firewall rules, and only allowing AirPlay for the current user, which is setting in AirPlay. Take a break from the serious stuff and talk about something a bit more nostalgic. Our featured retro game this month is probably one of my favorite puzzle games of all time, Tetris for the Game Boy. Released in 1989 by Nintendo, Tetris was a puzzle game that was created by Alexei Pajitnov on a platform called Soviet Computer and was one of those easy to play, hard to master games in which you manipulated a series of shapes to form lines. 4 lines in a row was a Tetris. Tetris gained popularity and became one of the best selling video games of all time thanks to its inclusion with the original Nintendo Game Boy. Tetris is often ranked amongst the greatest video games and was one of the first games inducted into the World Video Game Hall of Fame in 2015. The official Nintendo magazine ranked Tetris fifth on its list of the 100 best Nintendo games, and Game Informer called it the best Game Boy game and a legendary puzzle game. There was also a film based on the game's development in 2023, which wasn't half bad. There's many versions of Tetris out there, but my favorite by far was the original Nintendo Game Boy version. I love the Game Boy. It's possibly my second favorite system of all time, with the original Nintendo just slightly outranking it. Basically, it was to me what the Nintendo Switch is to kids today. It was my lifeline during long summers away from home, and to this day, something that I still play frequently thanks to the folks at Mod Retro, who created a FPGA based replica called a Chromatic, which actually has its own pack-in Tetris game, just like we got in 1989. Tetris was really my first introduction into puzzle games. While I also had Super Mario Land for the Game Boy to keep me entertained, Tetris was the game that kept me coming back over and over again, attempting to get a higher and higher score as I listened to its catchy tunes. I used to play Tetris all the time. It was an addiction. I even remember sneaking it into school to show my friends. Game Boy Color version of Tetris eventually came out called Tetris DX, and there was even a 3D version called Tetris Sphere that I loved for the Nintendo 64. Tetris spawned many other ports and variations for pretty much every platform you could think of. It was even ported to the iPod. In fact, Guinness World Records recognized Tetris as the most ported video game in history. Today, Tetris is still loved by many. The latest game, released in 2024, Tetris Forever, commemorates the 40th anniversary of Tetris. It includes over 15 different versions of Tetris, including a new game called Tetris Time Warp, which is a 4-player mode where players traverse through the history of Tetris. That's all, folks. Thanks for listening. Join us next month. Same bat time, same bat channel. And remember, this episode of Hacking Pixels is brought to you by Actionable Security, your trusted partner in safeguarding small businesses. With decades of experience, Actionable Security offers tailored cybersecurity services such as risk assessments, email hardening, and virtual chief information security officer advisory. For more details on how we can help protect your business, visit actionablesec.com.